in here. If you are 18 years old and you want to transition, you'll never hear me say a word about it. That is your own business. But again, we're talking about children. And I think Colorado is on the wrong side of history on this issue. And I think more and more, we're starting to see other people realize that. As it was mentioned, England, Finland, Denmark, I think Scotland was mentioned in there, have started taking steps to reverse at least certain aspects of gender affirming care. And frankly, we're in America. We just had an election where the person, President Trump, who won the election, this was actually a big part of his platform, and he won overwhelmingly. If you watch TV and you saw the ads leading right up to the election, he won overwhelmingly. So I think America is starting to wake up to this issue, and we're starting to see it more and more. But unfortunately, Colorado seems to be behind the curve on this. And if you don't believe me, January 2025, New York Times Ipsos survey, January 2025, keep in mind, and it's a New York Times survey. Question: thinking about medications used for transgender care, do you think doctors should be able to prescribe puberty-blocking drugs or hormone therapy to minors between the ages of 10 and 18? 71% of Americans answered no, including 54% of Democrats. Only 10% of respondents said minors should have access to the drugs, with 16% saying minors ages 15 to 18 should have access. So even across the aisle, in national surveys, people are starting to say this isn't okay. We heard the immediate affirmation. That concerns the crap out of me when we hear that. And it's something that I've heard over and over again, which is why I had line of questioning towards that. The immediate affirmation. You have a child, who says they feel a certain way, and almost immediately on the first visit to the doctor, they're being pressured and saying, what's your pronouns? What is your preferred name? There's almost no time to assess the background of the child to see if maybe there's some other underlying problems here. We just immediately throw them into it. And it's a lot of times these ideological doctors that are doing it. And I can't help but when I look at this state and I look at the bills that get passed by this legislature, you're not old enough to buy a gun until you're 21, even though you can go off and fight in a war when you're 18. You're not old enough to buy a gun until you're 21. You can't buy nicotine. You can't buy marijuana. But you're 12 years old and you think you might be the opposite sex. Here's some puberty blockers that are going to affect the rest of your life. Now, let's be clear about this. I'm not a doctor. We did hear from the doctors, and I think they agree with me on this. But you cannot tell me that blocking a biological evolutionary process known as puberty, blocking that is just completely reversible and is not going to have any long-term effects. No one in their right mind who's being honest believes that. And so I appreciate the bill, Representative DeGraff. I know you're trying to protect children, and we still won't know the effects of what this country is doing to our children for many years down the road, which is why your bill is important, because we're going to have 12-year-olds 10 years from now saying, oh my God, why did I go through that? Why did I listen to my parents? I trusted them. It was a doctor. I trusted the doctor because we're taught to trust doctors, and they have no legal recourse. And frankly, that's not right. And so with that, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate it.
Rep,